Sony just dropped a pair of camera registration bombs, and the ripple effects are about to reshape the entire mirrorless landscape. The long-awaited A7V might finally be here, and there's a twist in the fate of the A7S IV. If you thought 2025 was going to be a quiet year for photography gear, think again. What's Sony planning? Will they play it safe or unleash a full-frame revolution? Let's break it all down, because this time, the wait might actually be over. In December 2024, Sony quietly registered a new camera model in China under the code WW7V3396, and it didn't take long for speculations to go wild. A second model appeared just a month later in Indonesia, labeled WW272726. Camera nerds, leakers, and insiders agree. These aren't entry-level models. Why? Because both feature dual-band Wi-Fi, a trait typically reserved for mid to high-end gear. Plus, the Indonesian model's manufacturing location, Thailand, lines up with Sony's alpha camera production pipeline. These registrations are more than bureaucratic filings. They're Sony's way of signaling big things are coming. Let's talk about the A7V. At this point, it's almost certain that WW7773396 is the successor to the wildly popular A7 IV. But what direction will Sony take? Scenario 1. Evolution. If Sony plays it safe, the A7V could be a modest refresh, retaining the 33-megapixel XR sensor from the A7 IV, upgrading to the BIONZ XR Processor, already seen in higher-end models like the A7RV, bringing in AI-driven subject detection autofocus, a huge leap in usability, possibly bumping continuous shooting to 10 FPS, and upgrading the EVF to 5.76 m dots for better clarity. 4K 60p video with 10-bit forward 2:2 color. Essentially, this would be a camera that polishes the A7 IV's rough edges, faster, sharper, smarter. Scenario 2. Revolution. Now let's dream bigger. Imagine Sony says, let's shake up the full-frame mid-range. A brand new 44MP XR sensor, IMX366. High-speed readouts enabling 20 to 26 FPS burst shooting. Video specs reaching up to 8K 30p or 4K at 120 FPS. Next-gen AI autofocus, rivaling Canon's dual-pixel AF2. A truly flagship-level OLED EVF with no lag or blackout. If Sony goes this route, the A7V could threaten even its own A9 and A1 lineups. A bold but calculated move. Let me tell you about Maria, a wedding photographer in San Diego. Back in 2022, she jumped from a Canon 5D Mark IV to the Sony A7 IV. For the most part, she was thrilled. Eye autofocus made her job easier, and the image quality gave her that dreamy, full-frame look. But over time, she hit some walls. The slow buffer filled up during receptions. Low-light focus struggled when candles were the only source of light. The EVF felt dated compared to newer mirrorless models. If the A7V delivers the rumored AI autofocus and EVF upgrade, Maria's entire workflow could be transformed. Faster focusing, sharper previews, and more headroom in editing, all without jumping to the $3,500+ A7RV. Stories like Maria's show that Sony isn't just competing with Canon or Nikon, they're competing with their own past successes. Price-wise, the A7V is expected to land in the mid-$2,000s, just slightly above the discounted A7 IV, currently hovering around $1,999. But here's the real challenge. Sony needs to innovate without cannibalizing its higher-end models. If they go too far, say 8K, 44 megapixels, 120 FPS, they risk undermining the A7RV or FX3. But if they play it too safe, the A7V becomes just another incremental update and loses out to Panasonic or Canon's aggressive offerings. The sweet spot? Offering just enough tech to feel like a true generational leap without breaking internal product segmentation. Now, let's pivot to the other half of this story, the long-rumored Sony A7S IV. Sony's S line has always catered to videographers, low-light beasts with massive dynamic range. But lately, Sony has been blurring the lines between Alpha and FX. And now, the A7S IV might not be called that at all. Multiple sources suggest the camera formerly known as A7S IV could merge into the FX family, possibly as the FX30 Mark II or FX32. That would mean same compact design, internal ND filters, S-Cinetone and Cine EI built in. Dedicated tools for filmmakers rather than hybrid shooters. This isn't a failure, it's a strategic pivot. Sony is acknowledging that the S crowd is no longer split, they're all in on video. Here's my honest prediction. Sony A7V will be announced around April 2025. It'll have minor body redesign, new processor, improved AF, better EVF, but likely keep the 33 megapixel sensor. The price? Around $2,499. Sony knows their core user base, wedding photographers, hybrid content creators, and prosumers who don't want to leap to $3,000 plus. As for the A7S IV, we may never see it by that name. Whether you're a casual creator, a seasoned shooter, or someone saving up for their next upgrade, this matters. Sony's next moves will set the tone for the rest of the industry. If they overdeliver, they might trigger a mid-range arms race. If they underdeliver, brands like Canon and Nikon will pounce. But one thing's for sure, 2025 is going to be a turning point for mirrorless cameras, and the A7V might just be the camera that pushes everything forward. So, evolution or revolution? Will the A7V be just a refined A7 IV, or will Sony surprise us all? And are we witnessing the end of the S series as we know it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're just as obsessed with gear news, leaks, and real-world analysis, hit that like button and subscribe. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.